presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
The following program is for mature and logical audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
The appropriate precedent limits a president to 2 terms. Is it your understanding that they have to
I don't
be?
even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about it. But I've had a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do you think that's an appropriate precedent to set, even if it wasn't you in this position, to see a president serve a 3rd term?
I don't want to talk about a 3rd term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go. We have a long time. You know, we have almost 4 years to go. And that's a long time. But despite that, so many people are saying, you've got to run again.
Just like Alice in Chains always said, get rid of the 22nd Amendment and Trump will make America great again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Ryan, you an Alice in Chains fan? Alice in Chains fan?
I am, yes.
Oh, wow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsai, back after a week. Quite a lot has happened since our last episode. Signalgate was the new scandal the legacy media made up last week. We saw quite a few arrests for people attacking Teslas, owners of Teslas and Tesla dealerships. We have rumors swirling that Israel, or maybe Mossad, I don't know, has a sex tape of RFK Jr. and is using it to compromise him. We missed quite a lot here. Trump, he may be seeking a 3rd term, or maybe more, to 2037. That will put him at like 92 years old. Also, someone tried to Sam Ace Rothstein Vladimir Putin's presidential limousine. That's a lot, huh? That's a lot of... Someone tried to Sam Ace Rothstein Vladimir Putin. For real, Putin's limo was blown up over the weekend. Something you see in a mob movie. Was it the Khazarian Mafia? Was it Ukraine? Was it the Democrats? Who knows? Who knows? But the big story in Pittsburgh, Ryan, you'll know this. The Pirates bullpen stinks yet again. And in just a few days, Ryan, listening, then give your opinion. Yes. And in just a few days, the New York Yankees come to town with their torpedo backs. Ryan,
yes.
Question. Would it be safe to walk the streets of the North Shore with the Bronx Bombers using basically mortar shells for baseball bats? I was going to go to the game with my son, but with these bats, I can't risk it. Is it safe? Is it safe for me to bring my son with the Pirates relief pitching and the Yankees new bats?
No, it's not safe, Joe. Just plain obviously. I got to be honest with you. It was, would they say it was the first time since 1924 that this happened to one team in the first 4 games of a season where they lost 3 games in walk-off style. We literally never seen anything like this in our life, Joe.
With relief pitchers, what's going to happen whenever the Yankees put up like 39 runs in 2 games?
Yeah, Joe, it's not good. And we knew this was the weak spot going into. Why they didn't really address this is beyond me. But yeah, the Yankees are going to give us a lot of trouble this weekend.
They're using bowling pins.
What's going on? 15 home runs through the first weekend. It's a record. So I don't know what they're doing, but it's working. If
I had a boat, I'd put it right in the river and just wait for fly balls out there.
Yeah,
okay.
They're hitting them out at a record pace.
Well, at least we got one win out of them. It was fun for 8 innings in that opening day.
I tell you what, if it wasn't, I mean, if we had a semi-competent relief pitching staff, we could very well be 4-0, but unfortunately we're 1-3.
Stretch your arm out. You could probably get a junk ball.
You're right.
Monaca was always known for their junk ball pitchers.
I tell you what, it's unbelievable because the starting pitching is so good, and it's just unbelievable how bad the relief pitching is.
Yes. All right, but sadly we have to talk a little bit of politics today.
Let's do it.
We got preempted by the Pirates last week, but we're back after a week.
Yes.
And our first story of the day, it broke on Wednesday last week. We didn't get a chance to cover it. Signalgate. Spoiler alert, everyone, because it's been almost a week since that story came out. It's a complete non-story. So let's look at the facts real quick. We'll go over it. If you want to call in for anything at all, it's been a week. You know the number, 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. So no classified information was revealed in these texts. Jeffrey Goldberg said there was classified information, but there wasn't. Also, the mission was already carried out. But even if it wasn't, again, there was no classified information in the text between Pete Hegseth, Waltz, Rubio was in there. There wasn't even any sensitive information in the exchanges. In fact, you can argue that there was no information of any classification whatsoever. I mean, think about it. There were no targets mentioned. There was nothing in those texts worthy of a story, even being written about it. So why did Jeffrey Goldberg lie and write a story about how he saw classified information in a group text he wasn't supposed to be in? Also, why didn't Jeffrey Goldberg say, hey guys, I'm a journalist. Am I supposed to be in this chat? And can I report on what you're saying here, by the way? This is a juicy story, if so. Mr. Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldberg knew he shouldn't have been in that group chat, but instead of saying anything at all, he stayed and then went and wrote an article about it. Jeffrey Goldberg even said there was a confidential spy in the chat that was outed as a result of this. That ended up being a lie too. It was Mike Waltz's chief of staff. The operation in question with the group chat, it was a success. And all that gets ignored because some worthless journalist wrote a bogus article with lies written all throughout it. And remember, audience, this is the same guy, Jeffrey Goldberg, that made that suckers and losers story, that fake story, which has been disproven by multiple sources. Even John Bolton, who hates Trump, said it was nothing. It was a lie. He never called them suckers and losers. So a fake narrative is trying to be created that the Trump team, everyone in it, they're unqualified. That's why Jeffrey Goldberg wrote that article filled with lies. The Democrats couldn't stop the nomination of Hegseth. They couldn't stop the nomination of any of these people. So now it's the media's turn to try to make them look unqualified to the point where Trump has no choice but to remove them. They want scalps. They want Pete Hegseth. They want his scalp. They want Ratcliffe. They want Mike Waltz. They want Tulsi Gabbard. They want RFK Jr. too. But right now, they're just focused on those main three in Signalgate. Let's be real. It doesn't look like it worked, though. See, again, the mission was a success. It was already carried out by the time the texts were sent. There was no classified information exchanged in the text. And now Jeffrey Goldberg's article needs to be corrected. So it was all a fake scandal. But again, the media is still trying to use this to get a scalp like they did with Michael Flynn, General Flynn, in 2017. So the question is, audience, I'm asking you, is it working? After the media fooled most of the country on Russiagate, the PP hoax, the Wuhan wet market, it wasn't from a Wuhan lab, the COVID vaccine, oh, it's safe and effective. You'll never, ever get COVID. Never, forever, ever get COVID. Ukraine, the Ukraine war not being a pure money laundering scheme. Inflation being transitory. Joe Biden's mental state. Are you buying this now? Are you buying that Trump's team is incompetent? Where was this same media for the last 4 years? Because Signalgate is nothing. It's a nothing burger compared to anything the last 4 years under the Biden administration. Please, if you listen to the show since last April, you know. No one, go back since 2021. No one resigned after that $250 million pier melted away into the ocean. The waves took it over. A big cost more than Heinz Field for a pier that we never used. No one had to resign. No one in the military resigned when we left billions of dollars worth of equipment in Afghanistan. Someone should resign from that if not the person that suggested that it's cheaper to leave the equipment behind for the Taliban. It's cheaper to just give the Taliban a top 25 AP Air Force. They should resign. They should be fired. No one resigned when the military drone struck a van with a family inside and killed children and an interpreter. No one resigned then. The media didn't care one bit. Children getting measles under a Trump administration? Big deal. Children getting hit by a U.S. drone under Biden administration, which is probably a war crime? No, non-story. Whose idea was it to abandon the Back America race, which we paid like $100 million to build? Why didn't they get asked to resign? What about Lloyd Austin when he went missing for a week and we had 2 Navy SEALs turn up dead? Lloyd Austin went missing to have surgery, didn't tell anyone. That wasn't a big deal, apparently. So why is a journalist hiding like a crazy sick ex-girlfriend with a different number, hiding in a group chat and then spreading false rumors about the said group chat? Why is it getting national news time? There was no classified information shared in the chat. And the one journalist in the chat, well, he lied. And he said there was classified information in the chat. And the media gives this story wall-to-wall coverage. And again, it's only weird because 8 years ago, no one cared when Hillary Clinton had a private email server with classified information on it in her bathroom. And you know what's funny? This devil woman, this demon from hell, Hillary Clinton, she has the nerve to comment on Signalgate. Well, journalist Catherine Herridge, she saw what Hill Dog said about Signalgate, and she called her out. She said this on X. Hillary Clinton is weighing in on Signalgate. Clinton is an expert on 18 U.S.C. 793, the criminal statute for mishandling national defense classified intel. July 2016, FBI Director Comey confirmed highly classified intel, including Special Access Programs, or SAP, was found on Clinton's unsecure personal server for government business. SAP is highly restricted because sources and methods are fragile and can include human spying. 7 email chains concern matters that were classified at the top secret Special Access Program level when they were sent and received. 110 emails and 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contain information that was top secret at the time they were sent. 36 chains contain secret information at the time, and 8 contain confidential information. So why in the hell does Hillary Clinton get to say anything at all? And why does all of a sudden the media care about a journalist? Again, how did this journalist get it? It was the Biden administration that came up with the idea to use Signal. It's on your app. If you're a government employee, it automatically, I guess, gets downloaded onto your phone. So it was Biden, his administration's call to use Signal. Is Signal safe? I don't know. But the media wants to make a big deal out of it now. What else? What else? So the Signalgate we missed. RFK sex tape. Well, the sex tape didn't come out over the weekend, I guess, but there were numerous influencers saying that after this weekend, there was going to be a giant change in politics when it came to Israel, blackmail, RFK, all this. Candace Owens was one of them, and I like Candace, but she's guilty too. Ian Carroll, guilty. So allegedly, there's a RFK Jr. sex tape that Israel may have allegedly, audience, gotten their hands on, and is allegedly, audience, using to blackmail RFK Jr. There's just 2 problems. Number one, the show is called Thinking Logically, so let's think logically. You really think a Kennedy cares about a sex tape? I mean, come on. That's especially in 2025, when all this is going to do is make you more popular. Yeah. It's like that movie, The Campaign. You literally, you shot a guy and you went up in the poll. That's what it's like in politics in 2025. Also, I know the Dems seem to be closer with Palestine than Israel. But a lot of Dems are Jewish. Chuck Schumer's Jewish. Why didn't the Dems find a way to make the sex tape surface during RFK's confirmation hearing? Hello? That would have been the time. I don't know. So now RFK Jr. gets confirmed, and then a few weeks later, we have rumors that he's compromised via a sex tape. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. But let's look at some of the things that have happened since RFK's been confirmed, because we haven't really talked about RFK on the show. So what happened, audience? Do you know what happened after RFK assumed his role as head of the HHS, Human Health Services? The top vaccine official at the FDA, he decided, I'm going to resign. The reason he gave for resigning? Because RFK puts out misinformation. They had the nerve to say, the top vaccine official, probably had the COVID vaccine. He had the nerve to say that about RFK. So that's a great misinformation. Like the COVID vaccine was safe and effective. Does that count as misinformation? Or ivermectin was horse-based? And if you eat it, you have a chance, a small chance, but a chance to win the Triple Crown. Was that misinformation? Masks work. The more masks you put on, the less chance you get COVID. But like people, Dr. Fauci, like Tony 2 times from Goodfellas. You put another layer on it. You put another layer on it. What the hell is this? Should I go on? I mean, I can't wait until RFK exposes all the misinformation that these, we'll quote again, experts from the FDA, CDC, wherever have put out the last few years. Audience, who are you going to believe? I hope you can see that when they talk about RFK spreading misinformation, they're projecting everything that they did the last 6 years since COVID. They're projecting. Just like they project with Trump, just like they project with Pete Hegseth, just like they project with Tulsi, everything. It's all projection. So, well, that's 2 topics that we covered since the last week.
Yeah, you're killing it, man.
We're gonna have to move to a commercial break. When we come back, though, guess what, Ryan? Donald Trump wants to be president until he's 92 years old. He's just going to keep on going to 2037. Why not? We're going to talk about that when we return to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. Hey everyone, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about one of my favorite places to eat, Bowser's Restaurant in Monaca. I'm a big fan of their 2-meat plate. Sometimes I get it with the pulled pork, and sometimes I get it with ribs, but I always get it with their amazing brisket. Don't forget to try all their smokehouse sides as well. Takeout and catering available too. Again, that's Bowser's Restaurant at 1493 Old Broadhead Road in Monaca.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Brighton is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearm store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Brought to you by So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Whether you need your house washed, driveway clean, patio done, fences, gutters, you name it. Call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. That's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured and offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighborhood with a dirty house or deck. Call So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. Okay. They actually did my house twice, the So Fresh, So Clean pressure washing. I usually get it done like right around, I think last year it was right around this time, maybe closer to like the end of April. And then I got it done again in the fall. And now I got to get a third term come this spring for the pressure washing. And that's a good transition. Speaking of third tries, third terms, Trump was asked about seeking a third term, and he said this: "A lot of people want me to do it. I'm not joking. I'm not. It's far too early to think about. There are methods which you can do it." Asked about a possible scenario which Vice President J.D. Vance would run for office and then pass the role to Trump, Trump responded, "That's one method." Now, if you've been listening to this show, we said this was going to happen months ago. We said he was immediately going to try for a third term. He was denied his second term, technically. We're going to get to all that. But it begs the question. I hear a lot of people saying they wouldn't want a third term of Trump. It's close. I get it. It's like a dictator. I understand. But audience, would you be willing to change your mind? See, things can change with time. What happens if in the future we find out Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, wasn't legitimate? Does Trump get a third term? Should he? What happens if over the next 3 years, Trump gives us the best economy that this earth has ever seen? Would you support a constitutional amendment to at least let Trump try to have a third term? Audience, what if Trump is right on tariffs and you, as a citizen, you no longer have to pay taxes on your labor, income taxes? In fact, you never had to ever. What if Trump shows us this entire time we were being robbed by a criminal syndicate that ran this country through bribery, blackmail, etc.? What if we find all of our tax dollars, we find out they're all being skimmed? Again, I always use the movie Casino as the reference. Our tax dollars are the scam. What if we find out the real reason voting was stopped in all the swing states in 2020 was because there was some funny business going on? Does Trump deserve a third term since his second term was technically stolen? Again, if over the next 3 years, Trump at least begins to expose all of this to the American people, do you think they'll want to give him another term? They should. I mean, a man like Donald Trump comes around literally once a generation. And what he is offering, truth, transparency. We get to see behind where the wizard has been in the Wizard of Oz. We get to see it all. He's showing us. He's putting us in the room with world leaders. Why wouldn't we want to? All right, Ryan, tomorrow, April's Fool's Day, as you know.
Yes, of course.
Do you know what Wednesday is, though, Ryan?
April 2nd.
That also correct. According to President Donald Trump, though, Wednesday, April 2nd is Liberation Day, a day where 25% plus tariffs get put on over 25 countries across the world. Interesting times. The stock market, I haven't checked it today, not reacting well. The Kabisi letter, they're an account on X. They posted this on X about Trump and his tariffs that go into effect on Wednesday, like 30 some hours from now. They say U.S. tariffs will impact about $1.5 plus trillion worth of imports by the end of April. Here's what you need to know. President Trump has been discussing Wednesday, April 2nd, for weeks. This is the day that he has named Liberation Day, where widespread new tariffs are coming. We believe April 2nd will be the biggest escalation of the trade war to date. Markets are in for a wild week. To be clear, this is the day when President Trump is announcing reciprocal tariffs. This will be new tariffs on top of already existing and announced tariffs. While the markets view this as a day where uncertainty will subside, we believe the exact opposite will be the case. Currently, U.S. tariffs include 25% on steel and aluminum, 25% on Canadian goods, 10% on energy, 25% on all Mexican goods, and 20% on many Chinese goods. The 25% auto tariffs and 25% tariffs on countries purchasing Venezuelan oil will go live this week. On top of this, Canada has already announced reciprocal tariffs on $21 billion of U.S. goods. China has placed about 10 to 15% tariffs on U.S. agricultural products, and the EU has vowed retaliatory tariffs as well. Mexico's president has already vowed to announce counter tariffs on April 3rd. The result will be reciprocal tariffs on these reciprocal tariffs. And one of the largest trade wars in history. The average U.S. tariff rate is already up approximately 8%, with tariffs announced this year the highest since the 70s. By the end of April, we expect the 1946 high to be broken. Now, of course, people are going to be uncertain, and you're going to see this skyrocket. We're probably going to see something around approximately 80% higher uncertainty levels than in 2008. Also heading into this week, gold funds have seen unprecedented inflows. Gold ETFs have seen a massive $12 billion in inflows over the last 2 months, while the S&P 500 is down approximately 5% year to date. Gold prices are up nearly 17%. This does not happen in a normal economy. Again, that's from the Kubicity report on X. And what have I been saying on this show? Trump is doing an entire overhaul of our economy, our system, everything. There's going to be some aches and pains at first. But after a few months of Trump's plan being in effect, I think we're going to see that this country was truly, like I said, ran by a criminal syndicate the last 4 years, and then who knows how long before that. Now, all the fake journalists on TV, the fake economists that said Biden had the best economy that in the history of this country, as inflation ran rampant, they're going to be on TV. These people are going to be on TV, writing articles, doing everything over the next few months, talking about how Trump is ruining the U.S. economy. I'm telling you, if Trump's tariff plan works, though, the midterms, it's over for the Democrats. Is anyone really going to come out and say, oh, wow, I want to go back to paying income taxes. Let's get rid of the tariffs, and I want to go back to paying 30-some% of what from my labor. So again, over the next 6 months, year, somewhere in that frame, you're going to see the narrative that Trump is ruining the economy. Oddly enough, just a few years ago, we saw the narrative that gas vehicles are ruining the planet. Fast forward to 2025, and now people are using fossil fuels to light Teslas on fire because their owners are Nazis. So again, we just don't know where we're going in this country. We don't know what's going on. Trump's ruining the economy by bringing back tariffs when for centuries tariffs worked, and throughout history tariffs worked. And now that we actually can transition to the Tesla and the Nazis. I shouldn't say Tesla and the Nazis, but Ryan, question.
Yeah.
An audience in general. Let's say I'm not a Nazi, but let's say I were a Nazi.
Yeah.
And I bought a Tesla for some reason like 2-3 years ago. So I'm a Nazi, I buy a Tesla.
Okay.
Someone spray paints a swastika on my Tesla.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it on there and drive around with it.
I see what you're saying. Right.
And I'm going to say, oh man, my car was vandalized. Then I'm going to go to the insurance company and say, hey, I need a brand new paint job. There's a couple $1,000s, but I'm not going to get the car painted because I'm going to front the money because it's Trump economy, bad Trump economy. You know what I mean? The tariffs, you need that cash. Cash is king. So you're going to have possibly, and this isn't for certain, but you're going to possibly have Nazis freely roaming America and with swastikas on their vehicles, and it'd be completely fine, I guess. That's where we're...
How bizarre.
I have to ask again, though, these quote Tesla protests that we saw, I think there was one in New York City, maybe in California over the last week or so. Do you think they're organic or certain NGOs funding this?
No, I had seen one interview where the guy had, who was it? Somebody said they came like clockwork. Some of these protests, he goes, at 7:00 they'd show up. By 8:00 they were gone. No questions asked. Everybody.
The coordination is amazing.
It really is.
When have you been in a group? You go to a Pirate home opener. Will there be any coordination to what time you walk into the stadium?
No, right.
There's never any coordination. But again, with stuff like this, or even take on the right, whatever it is, not the Proud Boys, they all wore the same navy blue. Polos and then brown khakis, and they marched with flags and their face covered. I can't remember their name. It's escaped me right now. Patriot Front.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think they were actually a front. Amazing. Kash Patel, director of the FBI, Patriot Front. We don't see him anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. So the protests are happening, and again, are the protests happening because Elon Musk and Doge are cutting wasteful spending in government, aka the money laundering? Who is protesting cutting wasteful spending in government? He's stopping our tax money from being robbed, and as a result, it appears, if you look at certain big cities, NGOs are paying to have people firebomb his cars and his company. Remember the peaceful transition of power we were promised? They are now, whoever you want to call them, the Democrats, the deep state, they're in full shadow government mode, fighting a duly elected president and his administration with Molotov cocktails on the streets. I'm serious. Let's add this up. It's not only the NGOs that are funding the domestic terrorism going on. The media and some of our elected officials are in on it too. Remember, they fanned the flames with this entire situation. And it's not just with Elon and Doge. Our media elected, they're defending violent gang members. Remember that? People forget that. From being deported, murderers, rapists, people that are here illegally killing American citizens. The Democrats and the media are defending them. And
another one that gets me, Joe, is also this. I kind of was thinking this earlier. You know how Trump is talking about trying to take away federal income tax. So our whole lives, my whole life, I'm almost 50 years old. I heard people saying, "Oh, well, it's a crime what they do with our tax money. They take, and then they give it to other countries." So what does Trump do? He wants to eliminate that to where other countries are sending us their money and we're using it for us.
Yes.
It's the total opposite of what every person I've ever heard complain.
You could be on CNN. I mean, you could be on CNN with that mentality because
my whole life, Joe, that's all I've heard. Why I can't believe they spend our money this way. They give it to all these other countries. You could be Scott Jennings
on CNN right now because you point that out. CNN hosts wouldn't know what to say. They just they wouldn't know what to say.
It just seems logical. Why is that a problem? Why is again, this is what you should want as an American.
There's the expression, die on this hill, die on that. Do you really want to die on the hill where you're keeping tax dollars?
You're right.
On the hill is all the hoarded tax dollars. Well, did you see about the 5 Democrats that went down to Gitmo?
I did not, no.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What were their names? I have it written down. Okay, so Jack Reed, Gary Peters, Jean Shaheen, whatever her name is, Shaheen, Alex something, Agnes King, I think that's the 5. They're going to Gitmo to defend the illegal aliens instead of the victims. They're going down there instead of the American citizens. Look, because of that open border disaster, the last 4 years, we've had how many Americans murdered, raped, children, college students. And these 5 Democrats let me make sure, they're going to Gitmo to support the illegals who came into this country illegally. And you know what? Guess who has to pay for it? We do. They're going down there on probably a taxpayer. Maybe they should just stay at Gitmo.
Right.
Or is it too much to ask that we deport the illegal criminal aliens? Is that just too much? Get them out of our society? Look what El Salvador did with their criminal issues. They locked them up, and their murder rate went from 100 and some a year to like 1.
Way down, yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. What do I have here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Rasmussen reports. This is a post from them. They said a federal district court judge issued an injunction to stop the Trump administration from deporting Venezuelan gang members. Should the judge who issued this injunction be impeached? And they put out a poll. 49% said yes. 24% said no. 27% just weren't sure for some reason. I don't know why. But it's a 2-to-1 margin, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's a 2-to-1 margin. But it shouldn't surprise anyone. It doesn't surprise me and you, but it shouldn't surprise anyone because if you remember, 5 months ago, we had a national referendum on this entire topic of criminal illegals. It was called the 2024 election, and Trump won in a landslide with the popular vote. But now we can't stop the district judges. They have all the power, apparently. I don't know what we're going to do. How about this? Did you see the Judge Boasberg guy? He's had 4 of the Trump cases.
I heard briefly
I
about
forget
this.
how it's in a rotation. Who was it? Eric Schmidt. He's a senator from Missouri, I think. He wants an investigation of this. How Judge Boasberg, he got 4 of the Trump cases within days of each other. It says here, federal court cases are supposed to be assigned randomly to judges So again, the odds of one judge getting four Trump, that's like in Casino when the dumb hillbilly, Don the slot manager, 4 jackpots right in a row.
Yeah, right.
4 jackpots in a row. This judge gets. Give me a break. Give me a break. Can't you see it? Audience, can't you see? Even the liberals out there got to be saying, wait a minute, and scratch their head. I mean, there's holes in their heads like Swiss cheese, I'm sure, but I shouldn't say that. Okay, we got to take a break. When we come back, we got to cover foreign policy. Ryan, did you know that the Taliban still has American hostages?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me.
We'll talk about it when we return here. The Thinking Logically here, 99.3 FM, WBVP.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. Hey everyone, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about one of my favorite places to eat, Bowser's Restaurant in Monaca. I'm a big fan of their 2-meat plate. Sometimes I get it with the pulled pork, and sometimes I get it with ribs, but I always get it with their amazing brisket. Don't forget to try all their smokehouse sides as well. Takeout and catering available too. Again, that's Bowser's Restaurant at 1493 Old Broadhead Road in Monaca.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Brighton is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearm store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here at 99.3 FM, WBVP. On to the third segment. The first 2 were quite a lot. We talked about Signalgate finally and how it was basically a non-story, and Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist, is basically a liar. Trump being president until he's 97 years old, possibly, getting rid of the 22nd Amendment. Let's have him run it back as many times as possible. And Liberation Day, which is supposed to happen Wednesday, April 2nd. What can we expect? What can we see? All that. Now we're going to move more to foreign policy. So, I feel like I knew this, but just forgot. The Taliban still has American hostages. So American George Gleesman was freed this weekend after more than 2 years in Taliban captivity. He says he feels born again. Now, again, this headline, I see this and I immediately think to myself, wait a minute, I didn't know we still had American hostages from the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. The media hid that really well the last 2 years. If it was Trump, surely it would have been on the news every day. The conditions, how many captives, whether or not they were alive, everything. It's just amazed me how little we heard of that story for over 2 years. Strange. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. All right, we teased this, in the open about Putin, his attempted assassination. So a limousine from Russian President Vladimir Putin, his official motorcade, exploded in the streets of Moscow. It wasn't a drone. It wasn't anything like that. It appears it was like in Casino, Sam Ace Rothstein, where maybe someone put something underneath the engine block and kaboom. So it begs the question, who's responsible for this? Now, it could be Ukraine. Sure, it could be our CIA, which would be an act of war. The best case scenario, which is actually the worst case, is it was someone in Russia. People forget Vladimir Putin is not the hardliner in Russia. He's the softy. I know it sounds crazy, but he's not a war hawk. If something would happen to Vladimir Putin, we'd be in big trouble because whoever is following up behind Vladimir Putin is someone that wants war. So again, I don't know who it could have been with this attempted assassination, but crazy. It also came out, Ryan, did you know that when Trump was nearly assassinated, shot in the ear in July, and Putin found out, he actually went to church or saw his priest or something and said a prayer for President Trump.
Really?
Yeah.
I
wonder if Trump did the same thing in retaliation for what happened with Vladimir Putin here. But it was interesting whenever I read that on social media. Apparently it is true. It does have weight. So from Russia with love to Ukraine, we'll move on to.
Was he, real quick before you do move on, was he in the car? Was he?
No.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Russia, so
Right.
it's like, the Cold War, whatever comes out of there, we don't even know what to trust. Same thing as our government, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
All right. So Zelensky, he has rejected the latest U.S. proposal for a mineral deal that would create a partnership to repay the United States for its ongoing financial support to Ukraine. According to Zelensky, the deal to share oil, gas, and mineral revenue would amount to debt that would disqualify them from the EU membership due to unstable financials. I read that, and I'm just thinking, am I missing something? Is there some kind of language barrier that I'm missing here? If the U.S. aid package pays for the entire operation of the Ukraine federal spending liability, if we're paying for Ukraine's spending liabilities, their pension, their federal workers, paychecks, etc., that means we're already subsidizing Ukraine's military and the government. They might as well become the 52nd state. So they're not going to be able to get in the EU anyway. They already have unstable financials because they're a corrupt country. They're the most corrupt country in Europe. For anyone that can't see it yet, I don't understand. Zelensky does not want peace. And he won't hold an election because he knows he'll lose. So what does that make him? Why are we supporting this man at all? I don't get it, and for the life of me, I never will get it. The man won't hold an election. He can't. It'd be very easy. What's he afraid of? Hold an election. And then he goes and he does the United States dirty because he thinks he can get a mineral deal, or he thinks that the UK and France and these countries, he cozy up to them, it'll be the exact same thing. He's going to find out the hard way it's not. He's a complete puppet of the EU. Just like he's probably a complete puppet of the CIA and who else. Again, this isn't a politician. He's not even a good actor. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Why people still support this war in Ukraine and giving money, munitions, everything, I will never understand it. How much more do you need to see? All right. From Ukraine to Iran. So over the weekend, I guess Trump basically let Iran know that he would like Iran to make a deal with the United States over its nuclear program. And I believe Trump also threatened military action against Iran if they don't. So the deal maker are to the deal. Iran responded to Trump's, well, I guess we'll call it saber rattling, and threatened to strike the U.S.-UK naval base at Diego Garcia. Now, let me look up exactly where Diego Garcia is, because I thought that was strange. I believe it's in the Indian Ocean. Okay, I thought it was South China Sea, but it's in the Indian Ocean technically. But were you paying attention? Did you hear what I said there? Diego Garcia. Iran said it would strike the U.S.-UK joint naval base in response to any U.S. attack. This makes zero sense. First of all, why would Iran let its enemy know where they're going to make a retaliatory strike? Does that make any sense to you at all? That's like, Ryan, you say, I'm going to punch you in the face. And I say, if you punch me in the face, I'm going to punch you in the stomach.
Right.
And right where it's coming. That makes no sense at all.
None.
If Iran strikes the U.S.-UK naval base on Diego Garcia, that just shows right there, they're trying to initiate a world war. Why would they even want to bring the United Kingdom In. It makes zero sense. This is like in high school whenever a bully's picking a fight with you, so you punch his friend in the face. I mean, what are you doing? Remember, when President Trump took out Soleimani, and remember that guy? They found his ring in the finger.
Yes.
When he took him out in 2019, what did Iran do? Nothing. They fired a few missiles off. Nothing. I don't think it killed anyone or hurt anyone. Nothing. It was a show of force and nothing more, just like they do when Israel does something bad to Iran. So again, they didn't do this when Trump took out one of Iran's top henchmen, Soleimani. The responses are duds. Israel does them. Why would they attack a military base for the U.S. and the United Kingdom? Why would Iran start World War III over this? I don't know, but maybe Iran should call President Trump and make a deal. All right, we're going to move to the UK, Ryan.
All right.
And maybe, come on, I'm going to read you this article. It's not even an article. It's a tweet from, what's his name? Keir Starmer. Confirmed. Ninja swords will be banned by this summer. When we promise action, we will take it. So UK, the United Kingdom, according to Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, they're banning ninja swords. Ryan, if you are caught owning one, you could potentially face 6 months in prison.
That's insane. You just wonder what's really going on over there with the motive. I just know that they're having a lot of trouble with immigrants, and
How come Japan doesn't have any issues with ninja swords?
I know.
Why don't the samurai, the samurai people, why don't they have to ban ninja swords? Could it maybe it's not the swords. Maybe it's not the ninja swords. Maybe it's the ninjas wielding the swords. I don't know. Maybe Japan has better ninjas.
Right.
Again, why doesn't Japan, home of the samurai sword, have this problem? I don't know. Imagine being a Muslim terrorist sitting on your couch flipping the TV and you hear this story. Wow! I gotta go back to suicide vests.
Right.
What do you mean? Oh, you got to be thinking, wow, did I pick the right place to seek asylum or whatever it is? Ninja swords, completely banned. And I think it's going to stop anything. Keep in mind, guns are already illegal in the United Kingdom. You can't, the police, I don't think I carry guns.
That's my thought process. A lot of the troubles they're having right now, and I say to myself, gee whiz, what would happen if guns, these people had guns? A lot of these migrants that are being violent, and so maybe, just maybe, getting swords out of the way isn't the worst thing ever. Depending on what hands they fall in, right?
Ninja swords. They were very specific. They were just very specific. So like them Arabian swords that Muslims usually use, like a lad with the giant car. Is that fine? What's gonna
That's a good point.
In 6 months they're gonna be coming for kitchen knives in 6 months. We gotta move on. I could spend all day banning ninja swords. Wow, we think we have it bad here. Ninja swords.
It's going to be hard to butter rice cakes with no butter knives.
All right, moving on to the birthplace of democracy, France. A French court has found Marine Le Pen guilty of embezzlement charges. I believe she faces 2 years in jail. The deputy prime minister of Italy came out and said that banning Le Pen from an election is a declaration of war from Brussels. Here's the problem. It was actually a French court. Now, I believe she's accused of embezzling EU funds, but it was a French court. I don't know. Our court system are confusing. But again, this is the third country. Fourth, actually, Romania. Remember they had that election? They were like, the wrong guy won. Cancel. We'll do it. Then Brazil, they arrested Bolsonaro. What's his name? They arrested him. He can't run again. I don't know what he did wrong. They called him the Tropic Trump.
Yeah.
France, now Le Pen. And then it almost happened right here in the United States with Trump. How many times did he go on trial and for what?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how he got out of that, Trump, but he had nothing. But again, that's the greatest political comeback of all time. He lost the election after they stopped counting votes in 7 states. He let them literally walk into the White House. He didn't stay. He got on a plane. He drove down to Mar-a-Lago and he chilled for 3 years. And they went down there, they raided his house, they arrested him, they booked him. They try to do everything in the book. They try to shoot him in the face. And he won in a landslide. Won the popular vote. All right. Again, we got to take one more break. When we come back, Jasmine Crockett. We have 2 audio bites. One's from The View, one's from Jasmine Crockett. Get your earplugs before we come back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP.
Tune in to Driving in the Fast Lane with Frank Sparks on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Frank will talk about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There's also music to get you started for the day. The show is brought to you by Patriot Home Care. So set your radio dial to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. We're streamed live on BeaverCountyRadio.com, so you can listen every morning on Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logic here at 99.3 FM WBVP. We have some fun audio clips. The first one is from Representative Jasmine Crockett. She's calling Texas Governor Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. Ryan, please play the audio.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Okay, so Governor Abbott is ugly and in a wheelchair, is what she's saying. For those of you that don't know, Ryan, you might know, Governor Abbott has used a wheelchair since the mid-'80s when he was tragically paralyzed in an accident after a tree fell on him. You're smiling like it's funny that a tree fell on someone, so you're no better than Jasmine Crockett.
Hey, that's crazy. Who says that?
I don't know. Governor Hot Wheels, like she actually thought out the insult. At least Trump's insults aren't like Governor Hot Wheels. Pencil neck Adam Schiff, not Governor Hot Wheels. All right. Next, we're going to go to The View. Joy Behar, she tried slamming Trump, saying she never heard in her life or remembered a sitting president trashing his predecessor. Just play the first audio, and then we'll play the second. Play the first one.
Trump a tendency to blame the Biden administration. It's like, move on. That ship has sailed. I never remember in my lifetime a sitting president trashing a previous president. I've never heard that before.
She's never heard a sitting president trash his predecessor? The day, I honestly, Ryan, I could have for 60 minutes just played audio clip after audio clip. That could have been the entire show. The Daily Wire put about a 40-second compilation together of Donald Trump's successor, Joe Biden, trashing his predecessor, Donald Trump. Play that other audio clip, or last one, when you get a chance.
Donald Trump is a loser. Donald Trump is a loser. Mr. President Trump, former President Trump. Get a life, man. You were a senator, and you're the worst president America has ever had. Hey, come on. Donald Trump failed us. Trump has no class at all. Zero, none. Donald Trump has no character. He's failed businessman. You're the sucker. You're the loser. He's the loser, the candidate, and more importantly, in my view, and I'm just going to say it straight up, he's loser's a man. The only loser I know is Donald Trump. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack.
Smack where, Joe? I've never heard a president trash his predecessor before. The best part is Joe Biden doesn't remember saying any of that. Zing. All right, this is our second to last story of the day. I had to write something out here. Came to my mind. Epstein victim Virginia Guffrey, says she only has 4 days to live, Ryan, audience, after being hit by a bus. This is Virginia Guffrey, the Jeffrey Epstein girl. Prince Andrew, remember Guffrey? She accused Prince Andrew of repeatedly raping her via Epstein's whatever business he had as a teen. Apparently, she was hit with a school bus filled with children that hit her. The irony right here. It was a school bus filled with children that hit Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre. Were the children on their way to being trafficked or something? How the irony here is amazing. She's suffering from kidney failure, I guess, following the wreck. Again, imagine being hit by a bus. The Epstein victim, Virginia Giuffre, hit by a bus right as all these Epstein things are supposed to be coming out. Again, the timing, amazing. And our last story of the day, secret CIA files claim the Ark of the Covenant has been found. That's from the Daily Mail. Ryan, do you remember Trump had a replica of the Ark of the Covenant?
Yeah, I do, yes.
In his at Mar-a-Lago. I wonder if that was the real thing.
Hey,
could be.
At this point, you never know.
All right, that's it for today. I want to talk basketball for a second here. I had the pleasure of having the last 2 Thursdays off from the show, and I did watch basketball all day and all day of the weekend. And I got to say, this is the first time 4 number 1 seeds are making the Final Four. First time ever. And I got to ask, is this because of NIL money? The mid-major schools, they lose their best players to higher-paying big schools every year now, it seems. For a comparison, it's like they're the Pirates and the big schools paying all the NIL money. They're the Yankees. March Madness, as we know, it could be over forever. There could be no more 15 seeds upsetting 2 seeds. We're just a few years removed from a 16 seed upsetting a 1 and seeing lots of good upsets. Now, after the NIL has been established for a few years, it's all top heavy. It's like basketball. It's like baseball. And all because they wouldn't let a few college players get tattoos for free or sign autographs for money.
Yeah.
I mean, is the madness is it losing its appeal? I thought college basketball would be the last sport to even before football to lose its appeal. It's all favorites now. It's all.
You're absolutely right, and that's one thing that as a sports fan, in baseball, you don't want to see the Yankees win the World Series every year. You don't want to see the Braves in the World Series every year. Everybody likes
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Come on, we've seen a million teams that's done this, and you want to see competition. You want to see even the teams that are on the low end that don't have a chance to win it all. It's got the margin just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And as you said, Joe, is it even going to be the same anymore? Or are they just going to drop down to a 24-team tournament to just, make it more competitive? Because those last, other 40 teams have no chance at all.
There were so many blowouts.
There really was.
So many.
And as you said, I mean, this is it's actually the second. Back in 2008, it happened one other time. But for 4 number 1 teams to all be in it at one time, that's crazy. And you have to ask yourself, is this why? Is that what it's coming back to? Is it's all coming down to the NIL and how that's going to separate the.
Robert Morris and Alabama were the only first round game that was like, wow, that's like there were no upsets.
You're right.
There were no upsets.
I think McNeese State beat Clemson.
They were a good team the year before,
right?
And they had a couple of their players returning. Again, I don't know. Is it going to ruin college basketball? Maybe it's always money that ruins it, though. Yep. It's always money and greed, and that's what we're seeing now. So again, please don't ruin college basketball. This is like one of my favorite times of the year, and.
I wish they would leave.
Say what you want about football. At least there's parity in football. There are teams that never make the Super Bowl, but 7 teams make it, and they always are competitive. Different teams are competitive every year. I wouldn't be surprised if the Carolina Panthers are competitive.
Right.
You go over and over again, and there's teams like the Steelers that are always competitive but never great.
You're right.
At least the last 10 years. All right, that's all I got for today. Anything else you want to add in?
We got about a minute or so. The Pittsburgh Pirates, you mentioned earlier, this team has a lot of problems. The Penguins, they're kind of letting this season sizzle out. Joe, I think the thing that we in the sports world are still waiting for, waiting to find out who the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback is going to be. That it has not changed, but there was news over the weekend that Aaron Rodgers was down in Florida working out with our new wide receiver, DK Metcalf. So if this is more telling than they're telling us, we could possibly have our answer.
Let me know whenever he'll get an answer when he goes in the forest for a couple of days. Those shrooms he'll come out with. We'll know. So
yeah, right.
It's Aaron Rodgers for you. But it'd be fun to have him. Hey, crazy. Pittsburgh getting 2 big name quarterbacks back to back. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. This isn't Pittsburgh, but it's fun.
Right.
It feels like we're one of them new franchise expansion teams.
Absolutely. We're more of a historical kind of team, and it's kind of wild because the 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks that played here first are both They both won Super Bowls here. And if Aaron Rodgers comes in fact, that doesn't happen. The last two the last two Hall of Fame quarterbacks came and were not able to win the Super Bowl. So that just goes to show you it's a different era. The free agency really is taking over now for teams like the Steelers, where we were just more genuinely a historical team. We would build our team by the draft, so on and so forth. So you're going to see a lot of differences now.
All right, that was great insight from our producer, Ryan Garazunas, also co-host of the Two Dumb Yinzers podcast. You can probably find that on YouTube. Is it YouTube?
Yes.
YouTube.
Yes.
All right, that's all for today for Thinking Logically. We'll be back on Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. with more news and politics. Until then, enjoy the Pirates coming on in about 40 minutes. Thanks. I'm
The
Joe
views
Corso.
and opinions expressed on WBVP and WNBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM,